Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into Batter Up, part of the Sports Insanity Network, sponsored by Halpern's Cards and Collectibles. I am Mike Rifkin, joined different cast of characters. I'll give the reason why in a minute, but I'm joined by Lawrence Patchman Lang and the man himself, Mark, the old ops guy Halpern. Gentlemen, how are we doing on this fine Sunday afternoon?
Really unhappy that Joey Lucchesi is actually pitching today.
I mean,
And they're losing too.
well, it's 1-0. So
Yeah,
we'll digress. Okay. We'll digress. But Patch, what's going on, my friend?
Oh, we're here for a good time. It's good to be done with bowling for the season. I can finally return to talking sports with the buddies of mine, my brothers from another mother's.
Good brothers?
Good brothers, too sweet. So here to talk some baseball today.
Yeah, we'll talk baseball. Okay, so I'll get to the reason on why Dan is not here. Today, May the 7th, is Dan's birthday, so happy birthday to Danny Boy Reginald Dan Rhines.
Happy birthday, Danny boy.
So we'll dive right into the news of baseball. We also have news out of college baseball, which will translate to the majors. So we'll carry on that. First, a little bit of sad news. Vida Blue, former Cy Young Award winner, MVP, three-time World Series champ, has passed away at the age of 73. I don't believe a reason has been given or a cause of death has been given yet, but we will be on the lookout for that.
Vida Blue, a great pitcher for Oakland, served his time very well. Also one of the nicest guys to sign an autograph.
Mm-hmm. And we were talking before we hit record that not in the Hall of Fame, but Mark thinks now he will go in posthumously, unfortunately. So
yeah, there's no reason why he should not be in.
So there's that. But as we stated, we are going to talk other baseball news today. We will start with college baseball. Alabama coach, I want to make sure I get the gentleman's name right. If I can get Twitter to open up, that would be wonderful. Brad Bohannon was fired amidst an investigation into gambling against his own team.
It's unfortunately not something new.
No.
We've seen the gambling market come full turn since Calvin Ridley, former of Atlanta Falcons, was caught gambling on DraftKings $1,500, even while he was away from the team. This guy just proves he has no faith in his team, and he knew he was going to lose, so why not make some coin on it? But going to get caught, and that's what happened.
People doing stupid things now you lost more money, for lack of a better term. Okay, yes, you gamble, sometimes you lose a bit of money, but you're a coach of a college team and you bet. Happens. I'm sure there's secret betting going on everywhere in the world of sports with coaches, players, owners, whatever it is. But once again, you get your hand caught in the cookie jar. And now, hey, you lost a lot of money for being stupid. Come on, be smart here. As we discussed off air about this, if you're a person of, who's betting, get one of your friends to do it. I'm not condoning gambling here right now, but, there's ways around where you don't get caught.
But Patch, to your point, like every commercial, when you watch a game, any sporting event, the next commercial is all about sports gambling, whether it's DraftKings, FanDuel, points bet, whatever it is, there's always gambling surrounding whatever you're watching. The problem is here, these aren't professional, these are kids. You're talking about 18 to 22-year-old kids who, let's be real honest about this, they are auditioning themselves potentially to go not just to the major leagues. Some of them go, most of them don't, but for the rest of them, this is what they've done their entire lives. This is what they love. And you have this guy on the phone with some other bookie, and he's telling him, hey, don't pitch this guy, scratch him, because we know this team doesn't hit this guy. Things like this shouldn't be tolerated nor accepted. And I'm just waiting for the day that it comes back to Major League Baseball and we get another Pete Rose situation.
Right now, with, like Mike said, every other commercial, whether you're watching a game or even paid cable TV, it's either DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesar Sports, MGM. Now there's a new one that Wayne Gretzky is the part of. Obviously, the pandemic and everything has cleaned everybody out. So nobody else is spending money. They're saying, well, why not gamble it away?
Yeah, and you're gambling on kids' futures. It's just, it's not right. I'll wait to see what is found during this investigation, but it does not look good. But on to the major leagues, and we got some teams playing well in both leagues. We call the AL East the AL Beast for a reason, and the Rays have the best record in baseball, 27-7. But coming through, winners of 8 in a row and 8-2 in their last 10 games. Here come the Boston Red Sox, led by Bill Murphy's hero in life, Alex Cora. But Mark, here come the Red Sox.
The Red Sox, opened up the season against the Baltimore Orioles, and it kind of scared, the fans a little bit, the way they came out playing a little sluggish. But as Mike said, they are winners of their last 8 games, and this team is on fire. You got Bogarts leading, and it's not just one person. It's a myriad of players who are contributing to this. So it's not the stars of just Rafael Devers. I meant not to say Xander Bogaerts, obviously. Alex Verdugo, you got good pitching. The Red Sox, started off slow, but they're now waking up and coming on.
The name, I'm going to make sure I don't butcher this, Masataka Yoshida. 315, 6 homers, 24 RBIs. I mean, the dude is on fire. He had hit in 15 or 16 games straight. He's got a on-base percentage of 400, a 537 slugging. The transition's been very good for Mr. Yoshida. You brought up Devers. I think Devers will win an MVP at some point. He's got 11 homers.
Right. It's batting 255, slugging 562, 34 RBIs, though.
Verdugo's hitting 316 with 5 homers. And then you look at the rotation, and it's not the sexiest rotation, but they finally got Chris Sale healthy.
Right.
And when Chris Sale is healthy, he is so good. The ERA is not there yet at 6.37, but he's got 3 wins. Corey Kluber's done his part. Tanner Houck's done his part. They have the pieces there, and they have a manager in Alex Cora who just exudes confidence and bravado about him, and they win. They find ways to win. They've taken the first two from the Phillies this weekend in Philly. You know, after beating up the Blue Jays at Fenway, they've jumped the Blue Jays in the standings. You know, so they're playing so well right now. The other team in the AL playing really well. I can't believe I'm uttering these words because I said it before the season. They need to prove it to me. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, of California, 19-15. They're 7-3 in their last 10, Mark.
You know, the Angels are a team that just seem to want to surprise. They want to be the comeback artist, so to speak. I mean, starting off the season the way they did is just pitiful. But now Trout, you got obviously Trout and Shohei are doing what they have to do. And again, it's a myriad of players who are joining in and making sure they're doing their part, because you can't put the weight on just Trout and Ohtani.
Yeah,
Patrick?
you know. Oh, yeah, you know, the Angels are a team where, if healthy, are a threat. And we know, and we've seen that when that team is fully healthy, everyone produces, and that team is basically unstoppable. And then we hit roadblocks where, Rendon's hurt once in a while, Trout's hurt, Ohtani, does Ohtani type things where, he goes on a stretch where he's cold, and that's where the Angels get in trouble and they start losing, 4 or 5 games in a row, and then, they start sliding. But looking at the Angels now, healthy, doing all right, and they're winning ball games.
You look at Mike Trout, and the stat that stands out to me the most is 0 stolen bases. And I think it's the greatest thing on his stat records, because they're trying to keep him healthy. And 2 of his last 3 big injuries came off of trying to swipe a bag.
You
And
got to protect your franchise player.
and they're doing a good job, because he does. If he's healthy, he's still, for my money, the best player in the world.
I don't disagree.
And Ohtani's right there with him. And they have to stay relevant for Ohtani's case, because if they're not, then they're forced into a dilemma come the trade deadline with what to do with Shohei. But the other guy I'm going to give some love to. I'm not a big fan of Hunting, but Hunter Renfroe, 7 homers, 21 ribbies, 788 OPS. I mean, the dude is putting up some numbers this year. 312 on base, 476 slugging, hitting 254. But he's another guy in that lineup who just adds protection to Trout and Ohtani, which is something they've lacked over the years, not because Albert Pujols was a bad player, but because he was declining in age. The age played a factor. Hunter Renfroe can hop on a fastball, and he can hit it a long, long way.
I think he hit a monster the other night, but this team is a very patient Angels team, as you can tell by their walk-on bases, walk-on balls. They have 112 walks to start off the season. I mean, their average starting lineup player has double-digit walks. That's a stat that is more important, because the more players you have on via that way, the more possibility of runs that are coming in.
Yeah, so, and they'll have a test this week. They're going to play the Astros, I believe, are going in there this week. So there's that. National League, the 2 teams we'll talk about are actually playing each other, and the series is split right now. The Dodgers and the Padres have been rolling recently. The Dodgers 7-3 in their last 10. The Padres 6-4 in their last 10, and they've split the first 2 games of their series so far.
Patch.
Yeah, you want San Diego isn't. I always got to throw it to me first. Why not? San Diego, another team, when healthy with all the stars that they have, great baseball team, and they can compete with LA. their counter foe in, you know, the NL West. You know, they got Tatis back. Tatis, you know, already doing Tatis type things, fully healthy. I love San Diego. I want them to do well. I want to see them go on that run in the playoffs once we get to September, even though they'll probably crash and burn. No offense, San Diego fans. No offense, San Diego Baseball Club. And then, you know, I mean, the Dodgers are the Dodgers. It's Clayton Kershaw and company doing business as always in the West.
I mean, you look at the LA Dodgers right now, and obviously, you know, we said the same thing, and you guys have said the same thing over the last few weeks. They started off pretty poorly. Again, it's not uncommon for big teams to need time to warm up, and that's not just me making an excuse. But you look at Freddie Freeman, again, might not have the home runs that he would be expecting right now, but he's still batting 306. The strikeouts are a little up. He's got 10 doubles, 41 hits, and he has an 872 OPS. I mean, there's only one other person who matches up to him, and that's Mookie Betts. But that's what you expect out of LA with their star players. But you can't ignore the plays. You know, let's just throw it out there. JD Martinez, he's being the DH. He's batting 250. And everybody, you know, from Chris Taylor to, Jason Hayward does not get a shout out, especially after that drop ball the other day. And Max Muncy, even though he's batting 227, Muncy is a powerful bat.
Yeah, Muncy's got 12 homers, 28 ribbies, hitting 227, but 392 on base, 608 slugging. You know, how about the kid Outman? Hitting 274, 369 on base, 566 slugging.
And
But
James,
he's
James
got
Outman.
7 homers. You know,
This team will find ways to win. I believe they're at the top of their side with 20 wins anyway right now. And I believe San Diego's like a game and a half behind them in third. So between San Diego, the Dodgers, and the Giants, it's going to be an exciting division to watch.
you got 2/3 of that, right? The Dodgers are a half game up on the Diamondbacks.
Oh, I forgot about the Diamondbacks.
Padres with two back, and the Giants are 4. But the other part to the Dodgers that's so important, and Patch brought up the name before, it's Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw right now is 5-2 with an ERA of 2.53. He's averaging 10.1 strikeouts per 9. They've got Dustin May back now. Urias is good. The top 3 in that rotation is really good.
Yeah, look at the fourth.
And then Noah Syndergaard has not done well at all.
Grove has not pitched well.
Guy's been brutal. So, and the bullpen's going to be solid. And if they need anything, they'll get it at the deadline. They're not afraid to go out and spend the money.
Speaking of their bullpen, a shout out to Evan Phillips, who's having a nice start to the year.
The guy at the end, Gratterall, he is just filthy. 100 miles per hour with that sinker. Filthy. As for the Padres, here's the thing. The Padres offense will eventually get hot because it's too talented not to. And Tatis hit the 2 homers the other night off of Kershaw. Machado's going to do his thing. Xander Bogaerts was the guy you mentioned for Boston. He's been great for the Padres.
It's an all-star lineup team. I mean, like you said, you got Machado, Bogaerts. Let's not forget Juan Soto, even though he's not doing much.
He has not had a great.
No offense, Patch.
Cronenworth, not my team, so I'm not offended.
Cronenworth, and
You want to be offended?
For Pete's sake, Nelson Cruz is batting almost 300 right now.
Nelson Cruz crushed it in the Mexico series last weekend.
So, this team is not going to stay quiet for long. Machado is the one who really needs a big resurgence, and so does Soto. But I think if you wanted to pin the 2 of them up there, I think the Padres would sign Machado over Soto.
And they did sign Machado. Soto, 220 average, 387 on base, 407 slugging, 5 homers, 17 RBIs.
It's not a good line.
By the way, 32 walks for Soto, 36 strikeouts.
Mhm.
That's non-Soto like. And kind of this is carryover from last year when he went to San Diego because he struggled when he first got there.
It's like he never showed up. I mean, his biological form might have did, but whatever was left from him from the Nationals is still in that stadium.
Yeah, so he struggled, but the Padres, Dodgers, they'll play the final game of that series. I think that's the ESPN game tonight. Let me just double check.
It is.
That is the
Okay.
ESPN game.
Good game.
By the way, this is going to be a quick thing because I didn't write it. ESPN calls itself the worldwide leader in sports, yet the Sunday Night Baseball crew just is dreadful to listen
Boring.
to.
Boring.
Oh,
Thank God for a pitch clock, or else we'd be there all night with.
thank God for the mute button.
Sometimes you want to know what I've done that plenty this season and just read the text, because then I can at least make it in the tone I believe it's supposed to be in.
Yeah, so sorry, that was a quick non sequitur segue. Needed it though. So those are 4 teams are playing really well. We'll talk about them later because their series over the next week are very important. The next item, I can't believe I'm saying this. We almost had a no-hitter Tuesday night.
Almost.
Almost. By the Oakland A's.
Of all teams.
Of all teams. Mason Miller making his debut. I don't know if it was a rookie, was
Yes.
pulled after 7 innings of no-hit ball. The Mariners went on to win the game 2-1 because the first batter the reliever faced, home run AJ Pollock, no-hitter gone, lead gone. So, Mark, I'll come to you with this. Are you okay with a starting pitcher being pulled with a no-hitter going?
Depends on the situation. Now, let's put it in the terms of the Oakland A's. You got to do anything to get more fans than what you're drawing. So, yeah, let the kid pitch. I don't care if he was up to 150 pitches. Let him pitch. If you're talking the playoffs and it's Game 7 of the World Series, yeah, I'm okay. You pull, let's just make it easy. DeGrom's out there. DeGrom's lighting it up. But he's up to 120 pitches in Game 7 of the World Series. Yeah, I would pull him at that point. But it all depends on the situation and the game itself.
Okay, so for this situation, no header,
He
you're the
stays.
Oakland A's.
He
Okay.
stays. He stays because you need to find a way to bring fans in, and that would draw some people. I don't care if it's 10, it's 10 more than they're actually getting.
I wonder if you got the possum excited in the visitors broadcast booth. That's what I really want to know.
Good luck in Las Vegas.
Not officially yet.
Not official yet.
It's going to
but
be
gonna-
official.
It's going to be official. There is no way that's not happening.
Pat, you okay with a pitcher being pulled during a no hitter?
Well, once again, Mark nails the point there. It depends on the circumstance on what's going on. Personally, if it's the kid's first start, get him. If he gets it through the 7th, assess. It depends on the pitch count that he's at.
He was
He's
at
at-
100 pitches.
At 100 pitches, let him go another inning and then see how he feels. Because if he gets out of the inning in 9 pitches, he's good to go for the 8th.
It was his 3rd start of the year, so his first 3 starts.
Let him pitch. I beg to differ. With the Game 7 of the World Series situation, if DeGrom's at 120, you keep DeGrom in. It's Game 7 of the World. You keep your best pitcher out there, unless you're a big. Yes, Halpern.
So you're saying the decision to leave Pedro Martinez in was the right move, and considering the situation it was, and you know what game I'm talking about.
You're gonna have to refresh my memory.
Mike, Pedro Martinez was left in 1 inning too long.
Oh, this is 03. You're talking the ALCS in 03.
I am.
The Aaron Boone game
Yep.
off Tim Wakefield.
Doesn't matter who your pitcher is. It's not like they didn't read Martinez's card. They knew what he throws. At that point, Martinez was gassed. He should not have been pitching. This kid wasn't gassed. He wasn't tired. They pulled him, and he didn't like it either. I'm sorry. This kid is trying to make a name in Major League Baseball. And unless he was coming back from being injured, there's no reason to pull him, especially, and it was not his first game of the season, as Mike said. This was his third start. So conditioning wise, he should have been fine.
I think you hit the other nail on the head, though. You're the Oakland A's. You need a reason for people to come to the ballpark, because guess what's going on behind the scenes? We all know it. You mentioned it before. You're trying to leave Oakland to go to Vegas. So despite everything that is going on, your fans still go out there and support you on a nightly basis where, let's face it, your team doesn't deserve it. I'm not saying you go out there and make the kid throw 150 pitches. He's at 100 pitches through 7. That's where we're at the point where it's batter by batter. You have someone ready in the bullpen. Don't try to take away from the fact that this kid might do something, because you're the Oakland A's. Everything about you is not good. You're in a position where we don't know half your roster. Your manager's in his first year and he's in over his head because he's in a tough situation. But more importantly, you present bad PR for yourself because of the situation you're putting in with the city of Las Vegas. So despite all of this, people still come out, watch you, and there has been something to cheer about. Take it from two guys who are Mets fans who never got to witness a no-hitter until 2012. And if you want to even argue, 2022 was the first Met no-hitter because of no replay in 2012. These things matter. PR matters. Everything about this matters. And you took it away. Who knows if Mason Miller's going to become a stud? I don't know. Mason Miller doesn't even know. Mason Ryan might, but that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a different type of Mason we're talking about.
Different type of Mason.
Was he a Freemason?
He was almost like Derek Mason.
Ah, dead Mason.
But you're the A's. You need a reason for people to talk about you. This was it.
I mean, not for nothing. The A's are 8-26 on the season. If you do a couple of different things looking at their schedule, they're going to lose 115 games this year if they keep this up.
Minimum.
And then, as Mike said, you're going to most likely Las Vegas, and this is what you're coming over with. It's not a good look. Obviously, I don't know what the rules will be because as it is an expansion, it's still an original MLB team moving. So I don't know if there will be compensation picks and stuff like that. We won't get that until the actual deal is made.
You're right. 8-26. They're 3-15 at home. They have a run differential of -120. It's May 7th. Your run differential is -120.
Hey.
To put that in perspective, the Rays run differential is +114.
Well, you really can't compare the Rays.
Okay. All right. I'll take another bad team. The Royals,
There you go.
the team you're playing right now, they're -70. At least it's somewhat respectable.
Right. And the A's, mind you, at -120 have won 2 out of 3 so far against the Royals.
Right. The Nationals
Patch.
are at -28.
And we got more wins.
I don't want to talk about the Cardinals because I talked about them last week and I'm just done about. But the Cardinals are minus 25. The Rockies, who play at Coors Field, minus 42. You're at minus 120.
It's disastrous. And I mean, the only other team, if you look at it, like Mike said, the Kansas City Royals minus 70, the Sox minus 67. But how the Miami Marlins are alive at minus 57. So it shows you where there are stacked and non-stacked teams. I mean, for Christ's sakes, the Mets are minus 3. That should not be.
I mean, just to go to the Marlins for a second, they're like 1-4 in Sandy Alcantara starts so far this year.
And the Yankees, as being as bad as they are +4. So, it's 6.5, one dozen of another.
Oh, Oakland. We spent enough time on you now. One segment. Till you become the Vegas Silver Knights. That's what we'll go with. All right.
I don't know. The Silver Knights?
You play it off the Golden Knights theme in hockey.
Nah, I'd be called the Chips. The Vegas Chips. Have my emblem of a poker chip from a
No,
different.
you
see,
if you call them the Vegas Chips, they're gonna have to reenact the TV show Chips.
Yeah, but that took place in California. They're now in Vegas.
I know, but we're going roles reversal here.
Just call them the Guardians and be done with it.
We already have the Guardians.
Guardians 2.0.
No, right. Let's give them a real name. Let's give them a Vegas name. The Grands. Name it after MGM. Call them the Grands. They'll give out a canister.
They're gonna have the
Pillsbury
BetMGM
Gold.
patch on the uniform.
Yeah, they'll give out some Pillsbury Grands as you come in,
Oh,
Give the fans something. Actually, Pillsbury Grands and fried oil, a little cinnamon sugar. Delicious.
by the way, it has to be 6. We're talking 80s for a minute. Moneyball is still a top 5 baseball movie.
Yes, I don't disagree with that at all.
And the last time the A's were relevant.
Yep.
I got to tell you, though, there's one thing Billy Bean and I have in common, and it's that Brad Pitt could play us in a film.
Let me tell you, he did a great job. But again, I leave that to Noah Hill. That made him as an actor, in my opinion.
Great movie. So if you haven't watched movie recommendation, Moneyball. If you have seen it, watch it again or go watch Major League. Either one is acceptable.
Or Major League 2.
You have no marbles.
All right. On to some of the series we'll talk about for the week. These are occurring Monday through Wednesday or Thursday, or Tuesday through Thursday. We'll start in the AL East. The first place Rays travel to Camden to take on the second place Baltimore Orioles. And if you thought last year was a fluke for the O's, it's not. They're 22-11, 4.5 back entering play today. They are currently winning in the top of the 10th inning, 2-1 over the Braves.
I told you this team was special. Sorry, Patch.
I'll say I'm watching the game right now while we're recording. So
Oh, you got the O's. Wait, is it it's the Peacock game, isn't it?
yeah, it's on. It's also on NBC.
Oh,
Fuck.
before we dive into this series really quick, NBC do this every week for the people who don't have Peacock. Just put the game on NBC.
Shout out to Amazon Prime, not a sponsor for making New York fans confused when trying to find their Yankee game.
Oh my God.
Look, I understand the competitive market to be able to air, whether it's a baseball, football, basketball, any major sport game. But anytime you take the home team and you take the advantage away from fans who can't go to the game and take it away off of TV, come on. I understand the need for competitive, but make it available. I mean, if you want to do it for out of market teams out of the state, fine. But if it's in state, play it on the regular channel. Stop with this blackout shit.
Yeah. All right. So we have the O's and the Rays, Mark.
You know, I said before the season, before Old Ups guy took a sabbatical, I said the Baltimore Orioles were going to be the surprise team of this year. They have an amazing young lineup with Rutschman, you know, just Gunnar Henderson playing at third. You got such a young team. Anthony Santander is having yet again another great start to the year. Pitching has been spectacular. And if you look at the AL East, it's the same thing that we said it was going to be. You got the Rays 27-7, the Orioles 22-11, Red Sox 21-14, the Blue Jays 24-20 and 14, and who cares about that last team because they don't even have 20 wins yet. This Baltimore team is going to surprise a lot of people this year. I can see them stealing the second wild card spot, maybe even the first wild card spot, if they keep playing at this caliber.
I would throw them even maybe winning the AL East.
That's bold.
I will not saying they. I'm saying they can do it if that help. You know, when you got a young group of guys that are just hungry to win, and they win ball games, you go on that run towards the end of the season where you might be 7 or 8 games back heading into the middle of August, beginning of September, where you could go on that run. Think about it. You play your division rival a couple times in that final stretch. They lose they lose 2 out of 3 in a series here and there. You can easily catch up. And you know, that AL East could come down to 3 or 4 teams, or it could come down the whole division. The whole division heats up, and anyone in the East could win.
The other part to the Rays, and the Rays have been so good, is they are not going to play. They can't play at this pace all year. They just can't, because every team is going to hit a low at some point.
Well, you can't be on the high horse all the time. But
Yeah. So as much as I love the Rays, and the Rays pitching will get better once they get Tyler Glasnow back. And then you're talking Glasnow and McClanahan, and that's a deadly 1-2 punch. And then offensively, Arozarena has been a stud. Wander Franco is really good. And then you got guys like Yandy Diaz who hit the ball out of the ballpark. But to flip it to Baltimore for a second, Mark, look at the team they're playing now, because they're playing the Braves. And I kind of look at them very similarly, because if the Orioles want to keep this young nucleus together for a long time, take a page out of the Braves book and just buy out the arbitration years on some of these guys and sign them to longer term deals. That way you don't end up in a situation like you did a couple of years ago when you lost Manny. You were going to lose Machado to free agency, so you had to trade him. You got to think about that if you're Baltimore. But
you look at this Baltimore team. I mean, we've called out a couple names. Forgot about Cedric Mullins, who's off to a good hot start with 11 stolen bases.
Second greatest Cedric I've ever seen behind Cedric the Entertainer.
I mentioned Ryan Mountcastle, 8 home runs, 26 RBIs, you know, and Santander having a great start to the year. They have it's a young team, and if they're smart and there's somebody's listening, do what Mike said, buy out the arbitration to keep these guys there longer.
If somebody's listening, I said something smart. That's all I want people to know.
It happens once a lifetime.
It happens once a year. All right, so you got Rays staying in the AL East and staying with the Braves. The Braves will stay home, and they'll welcome in the red hot Red Sox.
See, that's going to be the first real. I mean, look, we're now in the second week of May, and this is a real good test between the Rays and the Red Sox. It'll be an interesting series.
Patch?
What are we talking about again? Because it froze.
Braves, Red Sox.
Braves, Red. Oh, whoa. Interesting. Give me the Braves. You know, the Braves are going to heat up again. You know, the Red Sox, yes, they're doing Red Sox type things, but who doesn't like to see the Red Sox falter with, the controversy they had a couple years ago. So, still looking for those receipts to happen. Not saying
It
you gotta
will.
beat somebody. I'm not saying someone's gonna get beaten in the face with a baseball, but Karma still needs to catch up to the Sox. So the Braves.
I mean, I thought their karma caught up to them a little bit last year, but again, two teams playing really well right now. I still think the Braves are the best team in the National League. With how deep that lineup is, and then that rotation with Fried and Strider, and eventually maybe they get Soroka back, Charlie Morton.
The pitching has always been a key for the Braves organization.
Heck, they may even ask Greg Maddux to come out of retirement for them. Who knows?
God help us.
But they're loaded everywhere, so they'll be good for a long time. The Red
If they can
Sox,
stay healthy.
yeah, that's the key for everybody. Stay healthy. No,
Stay
more
classy.
interleague and more AL East and at least we got the Blue Jays going to Philly, playing the return Bryce Harper, who's come back from Tommy John, DH mate. His only DH. I don't think he's played first base yet.
Look, I'm happy that Bryce Harper didn't lose his career because of this. But what's the reason to rush him back?
No.
I mean, he's one of the great players in the 21st century for us. Him and Trout. It was the battle of back and forth. Early in the it was the Bryce Harper show in the beginning, but now the roles are kind of reversed. Or now it's the Trout show. Harper is the one that's always hurt. Harper's a fighter. We saw it in Washington. Now we see him in Philly. Kid loves the sport. He wants to bring a championship to Philly, and he'll do anything. He learned first base to come back, so he didn't have to be in the outfield.
Well, they also
He
need
can't
a guy
throw.
to play first base because of the Hoskins injury.
I'm sorry, going right back to Moneyball. This is the catcher situation where he has no nerves in his elbow to throw, and he hits the home run to get the 20th game win. I mean, I understand that you're done, with one part of the game, but why put yourself out for risk for so many more injuries?
I think for one, it's the love of the game, but I think it's also the fact is you signed that big deal, the 350 or whatever it is. And I think that weighs on a lot of guys to when they get hurt, they push themselves a little bit further to wanting to get back and do what they have to do in these situations. So that's why he is back. Now flip it to Toronto. For me, this is the best lineup in all of baseball. The Blue Jays or the Braves. Those are the two best lineups, all baseball. Bo Bichette's off to a great start. Vlad Jr., like I said about Devers, I think Vlad Jr. will eventually win an MVP. The rotation is solid. If the Blue Jays were ever going to take the strides they need to take, this would be the year.
Yeah, let's call out one person on that Braves team. It would be Matt Chapman, who's off to a great start.
Chapman's off to a
352,
phenomenal start.
352, 1050 OPS, slugging 615, 21 RBIs, and 17 doubles to start the year. I mean, you can't ask for a better start to a season, especially to a guy who's a free agent.
Yeah. All right. Keep going here. We got the Dodgers and the Brewers in Milwaukee. We've got more interleague with the Padres and the Twins. And then we got the Astros and the Angels all this week as well.
The Astro Angels series is going to be fun.
I can see that being a split series.
Is
The
it 4 or
Astros got
3?
some tough news. Luis Garcia, starting pitcher, will undergo Tommy John surgery. So they'll make their waves because they always do. But I'm intrigued by Padres Twins.
That's going to be a good pitching I think the Astros Angels will be much better.
Yeah, well, if the Angels want to make a statement that they're ready to play, they got to win that series. I don't like calling must-win series in May, but I feel like that could be a massive statement for the Angels. If they could beat the Rangers today and take 2 of 3 from them, and then win that series against the Astros, it's like, okay, they're for real this time. And all they had to do was Bo leave. All right. Those are the series to watch. Now, we have one other thing planned. Mark, do you have the cards?
Just something to talk about.
Okay.
Nothing that's in my possession at the moment because it's all up for sale. For talking about baseball cards, this is the time of year where baseball really gets to start, and it's Bowman. Bowman baseball is where it all begins, and that's because Bowman baseball offers you something that no other sport can, and it's first cards of minor league players that are autographed, and they have 9 different variations. Right now, an average team, and a team that has maybe 1 autograph in the box going $125. That's how hard some of these cards are selling. The Diamondbacks with Drew Jones, which there is a bounty that if someone pulls the Superfractor 101 Drew Jones, mind you, the guy has not even stepped on a major league surface yet. It is a $1 million bounty on the card. That's where they are putting this kid right now. If you're looking at individual teams, the Dodgers have some big time. The Miami Marlins, it never seems to be, but they have some of the hottest rookies at the lower level. You have the Mets, who have a plethora of signers going on in Bowman. For 1 year, that's not, Yankees are not a chase team. They have some names, but with everybody moved out or moved up, like Volpe and all of them are done, Cabrera and Dominguez. That mean when I say done, their rookie deals are already in play. Some of them have been called up to the majors, while others are in AA right now. So the Yankees are a low end. Bowman baseball, you want to get in on breaks. Top Notch Sports Club, definitely the place to go with Anthony Laparo and Justin Valentini. They bring out the PYT, pick your teams, which are harder filled, because when you have teams like the Diamondbacks and you have teams like the Dodgers and the Mets going 300 plus, it's tough to fill, but it's worth the rewards. And sometimes, if you're in the business, you gotta look at the big products. It's not always a product that's $1,000 a case product that's going to make you the most money. To give you a great example, Ronnie Mauricio, who will be called up, maybe not today, but in the next 2 weeks, his Bowman first Chrome card has gone up over 800%. And the reason why it's Bowman's because it's their first card. Topps gives you their first actual rookie card when they make the team, but Bowman delivers the minor league portion of it that is really underestimated. And by the time some of these guys even have a chance to get there, their career is over because they never matriculated. So Bowman, you want to make money, you want to get a baseball card that's going to make you money, get Bowman, and then flip them right on eBay immediately. It doesn't matter if it's a nobody. They still sell.
Look, I want to ask this question, and this is just a random card question.
Sure.
If you buy a Bowman minor league card,
okay,
and the player may not turn out as good as we may think,
okay,
or what's the value kind of deal?
So let's take the one player that fits this bill perfectly, and that's Jared Kelenic. Jared Kelenic signed with the New York Mets right out of the draft and was posed to be the next Ken Griffey Jr. That's how they were making this kid out. So the Mets needed some power and they needed pitching. So they made a deal to trade Jared Kelenic, a couple other low prospect picks to bring in, yes, Edwin Diaz and fucking Robbie Cano. Who cares about Robbie? You get Edwin Diaz, the best closer in baseball, when he's not jumping for joy on the mound and tearing his ACL. Jerry Kelenic is the biggest meme and the biggest joke of baseball. The kid is batting not even his weight. He's had 5 stints in the major leagues because of what Seattle gave up to get him. They have to. And he has never really come around. His contract is up in a year or two. I do not expect him to stay there. Another name to look at this like another New York Mets center fielder, Pete Crow Armstrong, who was, again, when the Mets got rid of Kelenic, they brought him in. Mind you, there's no room for a center fielder now that Brandon Nimmo's there for the next 8 years, but it's good to have someone who could be up there to play the position. So, he was traded to the Cubs. Both of these guys had serious shoulder injuries that required serious shoulder surgery and serious Tommy John surgery. So Seattle is already pretty much lost in this deal. That's Kelenic has never panned out. Armstrong is just returning, and we'll see what happens. But if you get a first Bowman card, it doesn't matter if it's when they were on Texas and then 2 years later they were traded. No, that's still his first Bowman card. Then you'll get rookie cards of them afterwards. The first Bowman are the cards to watch. You want to have fun, go on eBay, type in first Bowman Chrome, and then just look at the sold lots. You'll see a lot of 5, 6, 7, but then you'll get into the cards that are numbered and you'll get up into the thousands without a problem.
And then just to flip it the other way, you get a guy in the minor leagues, turns out to be the Hall of Fame level player. Does that mean as much as like a argument's sake? I'm just using an example. A Trout minor league card.
Trout first Bowman,
as opposed to him in an
Trout
Angel
first Bowman,
uniform.
mind you, is like a holy grail of cards.
Okay.
Okay. When Bowman autograph came out, when Trout first came up, nobody knew that Trout was going to be who he is. Albert Pujols, when he first came up, nobody thought he was going to be what he was. Nobody knew, because you don't know until they get up here. So you got to take your chances. You look at the top card and you hold on to it for a year. It could cost you $1,000 to get, and the guy doesn't pan out, and you lose $1,000. But let's take Trout first Bowman card, a mint 9 went $100,000. And that's his first Bowman autograph card, not just the regular first Bowman common card. The regular first Bowman common cards go for like 25 to 30. But his rookie autograph, you get it graded, it's tens of thousands. But odds of finding one nowadays that's not been slabbed and collected, very hard. Or somebody not willing to part for less than 100,000 at least.
Okay. Good to know. All right. Pat, you want to give the socials?
Socials are always fun. We're on Twitter, Facebook. Just search Sports Insanity Network. Go to the website, www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. Keep up with all your blogs, vlogs, trains, planes, automobiles. Learn more about us, more about the network, yada, yada.
I love the yada, yada. Great episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah.
All right.
Hello.
All right. That'll do it for this edition of Batter Up, part of the Sports Insanity Network, sponsored by Halpern's Cards and Collectibles. Again, happy birthday to Dan. We'll be back.
And Dan's brother,
next
because,
Sunday.
That's right. And Dan's brother. We're not leaving out Danny Boy's brother.
And Dan's brother. I apologize to Dan's brother.
So do I.
I deeply apologize for my actions. Happy birthday, Dan and Dan's brother.
Share the cake.
Share the cake. Share the whole enchilada. For Mark Oldham, Sky Halpern, and Lawrence Batchman, I'm Mike Rifkin. Thank you for listening to Batter Up, sponsored by Halpern's Cards and Collectibles here on the Sports Insanity Network. We will talk to you again next week. Have a great week, everybody.